In the rich fabric of naval history, there is a narrative of incredible bravery and devotion that continues to touch the soul and inspire awe. It is a story laced with threads of heroism, sacrifice, and unflinching dedication to duty, one that transcends time and strikes a profound chord in the hearts of everyone who hear it. Amid the turbulent seas of World War II, a beacon of valor emerged in the form of a valiant naval commander whose name has since become synonymous with bravery and honor. His actions on the battlefield and behind enemy lines exemplify the very heart of naval tradition: courage in the face of adversity, compassion for colleagues in arms, and unflinching commitment to the principles of duty and service. Throughout the difficulties and tribulations of war, this courageous officer displayed extraordinary resilience and fortitude, meeting each task with steadfast determination and drive. In the darkest hours of captivity, he was a beacon of hope and inspiration, a bright testament of the human soul's unbreakable spirit. So, with heartfelt humility and appreciation, we celebrate his memory, the remembrance of a true hero whose legacy lives on through the christening of the USS Antrim FFG 20. As the ship sets sail across the great expanse of the ocean, it carries not just the name of a distinguished naval officer, but also the spirit of courage, sacrifice, and honor that he represented. And the presence of his beloved family. We honor a life well lived, one distinguished by selfless service and unflinching dedication to duty. May his memory live on for eternity, a source of inspiration for future generations and a tribute to the enduring heritage of those who serve their country with dignity and distinction. Richard Nott Antrim, born on December 17, 1907, in Peru, Indiana, was a renowned U.S. Navy officer whose extraordinary bravery and leadership during World War II earned him the highest military medal, the Medal of Metal. Antrim graduated from the United States Naval Academy in 1931 and was commissioned as an ensign. During World War II, Antrim was the executive officer of the USS Pope DD-225, a destroyer active in the Pacific Theater. During combat against Japanese forces in the Philippines in December 1941, the USS Pope was severely damaged and eventually sank. Antrim and the remaining crewmen were taken as prisoners of war by the Japanese. Despite difficult conditions and mistreatment as a POW, Antrim's leadership and spirit remained unwavering. He demonstrated incredible resilience and compassion, frequently sacrificing his own well-being to protect and support his fellow inmates. Notably, he secretly organized resistance actions among POWs, offering hope and unity in the face of adversity. Antrim's greatest act of bravery happened during a forced march to a POW camp in April 1942. When Antrim witnessed a fellow prisoner being severely beaten by a Japanese guard, he interfered, risking his own life to protect the innocent victim. This act of kindness and bravery demonstrated Antrim's constant dedication to the values of duty, honor, and humanity. On June 23, 1947, President Harry S. Truman awarded Richard Nott Antrim the Medal of Honor for his remarkable courage and unselfish deeds while serving as a POW. His commendation recognized his outstanding leadership, fortitude, and courage in the face of great difficulty. After being liberated at the end of World War II, Antrim maintained his naval career, holding numerous command and staff positions. He finally advanced to the rank of Rear Admiral before retiring from active duty in 1954. Throughout his life, Antrim was a recognized figure in the naval world, known for his outstanding heroism, leadership, and devotion to his fellow servicemen. Richard Nott Antrim died on March 7, 1969, leaving a legacy of bravery and devotion that has inspired generations of military and people alike. His unwavering dedication to duty, honor, and service exemplifies the best traditions of the United States Navy and demonstrates the human spirit in the face of adversity. Early life and career. Richard Nott Antrim's life story is a riveting tale of bravery, sacrifice, and unshakable devotion to duty that transcends continents and generations. Antrim was born into a poor household in Peru, Indiana on December 17, 1907. His early years were impacted by the principles of service and patriotism instilled by his community and upbringing. His decision to join the Naval Reserve in 1926 marked the start of a path that would propel him to the pinnacle of military honor. Antrim's extraordinary talents and leadership potential were rapidly recognized, landing him a prestigious invitation to the United States Naval Academy in 1927. He excelled as a student and leader at Annapolis, graduating with distinction on June 4, 1931. During his stay at the Academy, Antrim met Mary Jean Packard, a fellow student who would become his loyal wife and constant companion throughout his naval career. Following graduation, Antrim began a succession of assignments that would shape his nautical skills and prepare him for the difficulties ahead. Antrim displayed a remarkable blend of technical aptitude and leadership savvy during his early duty in the 11th Naval District and later as fire control officer aboard the USS New York. However, his switch to aviation would pave the way for his most significant achievements to the Navy and the country. Antrim established himself to be an extraordinary aviator while undergoing flight school at the prestigious Naval Air Station in Pensacola, Florida, winning commendations for his competence in lighter-than-air (LTA) flight. Further training at NAS Lakehurst, New Jersey, reinforced his reputation as a versatile and proficient pilot capable of maneuvering through the most difficult aerial circumstances with grace and precision. Antrim's arrival at the Asian station in the late 1930s was a watershed moment in his naval career. He established himself as a devoted and resourceful officer by taking on leadership posts aboard ships such as the USS Bittern and USS Pope. However, the advent of World War II in the Pacific Ocean in December 1941 would put Antrim's mettle to the test and shape his legend as a hero. As the USS Pope was thrown into the midst of conflict, Antrim's leadership and daring were put to the ultimate test. Despite being captured by Japanese forces and subjected to terrible punishment and suffering as a prisoner of war, Antrim's willpower remained unwavering. He emerged as a symbol of hope and resilience in the face of adversity, organizing resistance actions and assisting his fellow captives. Antrim received the Medal of Honor, the highest military accolade in the country, for his outstanding bravery and noble sacrifice. On June 23, 1947, President Harry S. Truman issued a commendation praising his outstanding leadership, fortitude, and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. Long after his retirement from active duty as a Rear Admiral in 1954, Antrim's valor and dedication to duty inspired future generations of military personnel. Richard Nott Antrim's life story exemplifies the everlasting principles of courage, sacrifice, and service. From his humble roots in Peru, Indiana, to his brave acts in the crucible of war, Antrim's legacy is inscribed in naval history as a shining example of the best traditions of the United States Navy and the nation it serves. World War II. The USS Pope's wartime heroics are remembered in naval history as a tribute to the crew's courage, resilience, and steadfast dedication, particularly during the horrific battles of Balikpapan, Batang Strait, and the Java Sea. These battles, fought against great odds, demonstrated the indomitable character and unparalleled courage of the sailors on board her. During the Battle of Balikpapan, Pope's ferocity and persistence were critical in hampering Japanese invasion operations. Lieutenant Richard Nott Antrim, a man of remarkable tactical acumen and unwavering resolve, led the ship's barrage of gunfire against the German convoy. Despite confronting overwhelming numbers and firepower, Pope's crew held firm, their guns blazing as they inflicted severe damage on the Japanese vessels, temporarily slowing their approach. Antrim's strategic brilliance and unshakable resolution in the face of adversity gained him praise and acclaim from his superior officers, demonstrating the remarkable leadership that distinguished the USS Pope's crew. In the ensuing Battle of Batang Strait, Pope once again shone its combat prowess, engaging enemy forces with daring and determination. Though the facts of this combat are less well documented, Pope's unwavering dedication to duty and willingness to face the enemy directly on cemented its reputation as a powerful adversary in the Pacific theater. Despite the turmoil of warfare, the crew of the USS Pope remained unified, their resolve unwavering as they faced the dangers of war with bravery and tenacity. However, it was the Battle of the Java Sea that would push the USS Pope and its crew to their limits. As part of a desperate attempt to dodge Japanese pursuit and escape the tightening noose surrounding Java, Pope became entangled in a furious and desperate struggle for survival alongside sister ships HMS Exeter and HMS Encounter. The odds were stacked against them, but the Allied ships battled fiercely, their cannons blazing in defiance of the hostile attack. Among the turmoil and devastation of battle, Lieutenant Antrim emerged as a light of heroism. He led his group with unflinching determination and selflessness. Despite being injured in the heat of combat, Antrim remained steadfast, and his presence inspired others who served alongside him to continue in the face of overwhelming odds. Despite the ferocity of conflict, the crew of the USS Pope fought with unrivaled bravery and determination, their steadfast commitment to duty propelling them ahead even as the situation became increasingly desperate. Finally, as the persistent Japanese onslaught took its toll, the USS Pope succumbed to the heat of combat and sank below the waves. However, in its closing hours, the ship witnessed remarkable bravery and sacrifice of its crew, whose unshakable heroism in the face of overwhelming odds will be long remembered in naval history. The USS Pope's history lives on as a testimony to the resilience and courage of those who served aboard her, and their gallant actions continue to inspire future generations. In the heat of combat, the USS Pope and her valiant crew penned a tale of bravery and sacrifice that will be remembered with pride and honor for all time. Prisoner of war. Following the catastrophic loss of the USS Pope, the survivors were pushed into a desperate struggle for survival in the huge Pacific Ocean. Cast adrift on improvised rafts and debris, they struggled for 3 excruciating days and nights, fighting not only the weather but also the unrelenting specter of hopelessness that threatened to consume them. The hot sun beat relentlessly down on their exposed skin as thirst gnawed at their dry throats and hunger gnawed at their empty stomachs. Despite the desolation of their surroundings, a glimmer of hope remained in their hearts, a hope that, against all chances, they would be rescued and reunited with their loved ones again. As they clung to life on the open sea, the survivors gathered strength from one another, forming links of kinship and solidarity that would prove to be their salvation in the days ahead. In the face of great adversity, they refused to give up, finding solace in the shared fight and the assurance that they were not alone in their ordeal. They withstood the storm together, encouraged by the notion that if they stood together, they could overcome even the most formidable obstacles. Their odyssey reached a turning point when, on the 3rd day, they were discovered by a passing Japanese battleship. Relief poured over them at the sight of their potential rescuers, but it was tempered by the realization that their experience was far from finished. As they were apprehended by Japanese army officials in Makassar, Celebes Islands, the survivors readied themselves for the challenges and sufferings ahead. They had no idea that their most difficult tests of fortitude and resilience were yet ahead of them. Despite the brutal circumstances of their captivity, Lieutenant Richard Nott Antrim shone as a beacon of heroism and kindness. When Antrim witnessed his Japanese captor's savagery against his fellow servicemen, he refused to stand by and let them suffer. He shown great bravery when he intervened to protect a fellow prisoner from a violent beating, putting himself in danger to protect his colleague. His selfless act of heroism, undertaken at great personal risk, earned him the nation's highest military decoration, the Medal of Honor, demonstrating his steadfast dedication to the concepts of honor, duty, and solidarity. As their incarceration progressed, Antrim and his colleagues encountered new hurdles and perils at each step. Their Japanese captors forced them into arduous labor assignments where they worked tirelessly beneath the hot sun, their bodies depleted but their spirits unbroken. Despite their confinement, Antrim refused to give up hope. Instead, he took advantage of every opportunity to ensure the safety of his fellow inmates, finding clever tactics to alert their existence to Allied aircraft while avoiding notice by their captors. His bold proposal to build slit trenches in the shape of a big U.S. exemplified not only his creativity and ingenuity, but also his unflinching commitment to defy the odds and defend his compatriots at whatever cost. Antrim received the Bronze Star for his amazing heroism and leadership under fire, demonstrating his exceptional gallantry and unflinching commitment to the welfare of his fellow comrades. Antrim and his fellow survivors upheld the finest principles of military duty, leaving an unforgettable mark on naval history. Theirs is a narrative of triumph over adversity, courage in the face of insurmountable adversity, and the enduring power of the human spirit to persevere against all odds. We find inspiration and hope in their fortitude and sacrifice, as well as a reminder of the great debt of gratitude we owe to those who have given so much for our country. Post-war activities. Following his release following the cessation of hostilities in the Far East in August 1945, Richard Nott Antrim went on a voyage of rehabilitation and professional development that would mark the next stage of his successful military career. Antrim's return to the United States was met with a mix of relief and eagerness as he sought to reintegrate into civilian life and continue his duties as a naval officer. Antrim, eager to reacquaint himself with the complexities of naval operations, began by taking advantage of a well-deserved period of recovery leave. This reprieve allowed him to recover from the physical and emotional strains of his wartime experiences, as well as reconnect with family and loved ones after years of isolation and hardship. In May 1946, Antrim began a new chapter in his military career by enrolling in the repatriated POW refresher course at the Washington Navy Yard in Washington, D.C. This thorough curriculum was specifically developed to help returned prisoners of war transition to military life and improve their skills. Antrim and his fellow returning veterans were able to reacquaint themselves with the demands of military service through a combination of classroom education, practical training exercises, and counseling sessions. Never one to rest on his laurels, Antrim embraced the opportunity to improve his aviation skills by enrolling in a refresher course at the prestigious Naval Air Station NAS Lakehurst. Here, he received intensive instruction to refresh his pilot training, sharpening his flying skills and becoming acquainted with the most recent breakthroughs in naval aviation technology. This intensive training not only verified Antrim's piloting abilities, but also provided him with the information and expertise required to flourish in his future jobs. Despite the difficulties he had encountered throughout his imprisonment, Antrim continued to seek possibilities for professional growth and advancement. His quest for knowledge drove him to enroll in classes at the famed Naval War College, where he studied naval strategy, tactics, and leadership. Through a blend of academic courses and practical exercises, Antrim received significant insights into the difficulties of modern naval warfare through collaborative exchanges with other military specialists, which enhanced his ability as a strategic thinker and naval officer. Antrim's excellent service and valiant deeds while his captivity were not forgotten. In a solemn ceremony at the White House on January 30, 1947, President Harry S. Truman awarded him the Medal of Honor and the Bronze Star Medal. This great honor demonstrated Antrim's tremendous bravery and sacrifice in the face of hardship, sealing his place in the pantheon of American heroes. As he continued to rise through the ranks of the U.S. Navy, Antrim took on a number of hard missions that demonstrated his leadership ability and dedication to duty. Antrim proved himself as a talented and respected naval officer throughout his career, from commanding the destroyer USS Turner to serving in training and planning at NAS Lakehurst and the Office of the Chief of Naval Operations (CNO). In Washington, D.C., Antrim's career path led him to a variety of roles and responsibilities, including positions with the Policy Advisory Staff, the Department of State, and the Psychological Strategy Board. During the Korean War, he performed a key role in assisting military operations as commander of the attack transport USS Montrose, proving his unflinching devotion to his country's defense. For the welfare of his fellow service members. When Antrim retired from active duty on April 1, 1954, he was promoted to the rank of Rear Admiral on the retired list, a fitting homage to his outstanding service and several combat decorations. Throughout his distinguished career, Antrim's unflinching dedication to duty, remarkable leadership talents, and unwavering commitment to his fellow sailors stood as a shining example of the best traditions of the United States Navy. His legacy continues to inspire future generations of naval commanders, reminding them of the powerful impact that courage, honesty, and selflessness can have in the fight for freedom and democracy. Medal of Honor Citation. Richard Nott Antrim found himself in the dreary confines of the prisoner of war camp in Macassar, Celebes, Netherlands, East Indies, in April 1942. When Antrim witnessed a fellow naval officer being savagely thrashed by a crazed Japanese guard, his instincts for courage and compassion kicked in. Without hesitation, Antrim bravely interfered, putting himself between the defenseless prisoner and the irate guard in a valiant attempt to defuse the situation. Despite the imminent danger to his own life, he faced the guard, appealing to his sense of reason and humanity in an attempt to avoid more violence. As tensions rose and the full Japanese force gathered, Antrim's unflinching resolve stood firm. Recognizing the gravity of the situation, he bravely called for restraint, risking his own safety to shield his colleague from further assault. In an extraordinary gesture of selflessness, Antrim went forward and offered himself as a substitute for his comrade's punishment, suffering the blows meant for another in an act of exceptional bravery. The situation developed with an intensity that surpassed description, with Antrim standing firm among the mayhem, his actions startling and encouraging others around him. Despite overwhelming odds, his bold leadership and persistent concern for the well-being of others caused a significant shift in the camp's dynamics. As the Japanese guards stared in astonished disbelief, their zeal giving way to perplexity and awe, Antrim's brave action produced a wave of appreciation and respect among the Allied detainees. His unselfish act of sacrifice not only saved a fellow officer's life, but also acted as a rallying cry for hostages to unite and stand together. Following the ordeal, Antrim's courageous actions echoed throughout the camp, instilling the captives with a renewed feeling of hope and resilience. His unflinching dedication to the values of duty and compassion not only improved the immediate situation, but also produced a lasting legacy of courage and camaraderie that remained long after his brave act. Antrim's efforts were rightfully acknowledged as reflecting the utmost credit on himself and the United States Naval Service because of his outstanding heroism and selflessness in the face of extreme danger. His valiant stand against injustice and brutality demonstrated the indestructible spirit of the human heart and continues to be a bright beacon of bravery and compassion even in the darkest of times. Hello there, lovely friends. Before you leave, we wanted to offer our heartfelt gratitude. Crafting this video, which delves into history and documentary, has been a labor of love for us. We poured our hearts and souls into each frame, hoping to take you on a mesmerizing journey through time. We're glad to hear your opinions. Did you enjoy the video? Was it informative, interesting, or perhaps even inspirational? We would love to hear from you in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, please consider joining our community by subscribing to our channel. By clicking the bell button, you'll be kept up to speed on all of our latest releases, ensuring that you never miss out on another intriguing journey into the past. But wait, there's more. We want to hear from you. Do you have a particular historical topic that piques your interest? Leave us a comment with your thoughts, and who knows? Your suggestion may be the inspiration for our next video. So, friends, when you say goodbye, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell. Your support means everything to us, and we can't wait to go on this historic trip alongside you. Until next time, be interested, stay connected, and continue to discover the treasures of our shared past. Cheers!